Hey everybody, this is Jenna Rose. Welcome to my channel. This is a review for Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 4, Episode 9. It was called Housewarming Cold Shoulder. I have to admit this was a very good episode. It started off a little scripted for me. Actually, every first scene for this season has felt a little scripted. However, as the show progressed, it put a lot of things in perspective. Because the show is not solely focused on Melody and Martell, it is so obvious that both Maurice and Marceau are for the streets. Also, Tisha and Kimmi revealed a lot about their relationships with their husbands. I'm going to talk to you guys about that. And Martell blew up Marceau's spot again on the nightcap with Carlos King. I'm going to talk to you guys about that. But before I do, please guys like this video right now so that others can find me. Subscribe to my channel. I appreciate every single one of y'all for all of your support. Let's get started. So you guys, the scene picks up exactly where it left off. Tisha pulls up to Black. She calls Marceau and she says, "Can you come to the car?" He comes to her window and she says, "Can you get in?" And he says, "Oh, it's going to be a long conversation, huh?" Then he gets in the car. Now, the reason why this scene disappointed me is because I have never driven to any man's job and not had a conversation, okay? You just don't do that. This was a conversation they could have had at home. So I feel like this was a letdown to the TV audience, but I had to watch it a couple of times in order to extract what I needed. And also, there were some things that happened following the scene, both on the show and then something that Martell did that was like, oh, okay, I see what this was. But back to the scene, Tisha says, "My mom asked if I saw a picture of you." Marceau drops his head immediately. There's no correction here. Tisha didn't say, I knew it wasn't you from the picture. Marceau didn't say, "Tisha, that picture wasn't me." They just go into a conversation that felt a little scripted. Tisha says, "My mom has concerns. She doesn't want me to ignore what's going on because I'm so in love with you." Marceau says, "Ignore what?" Tisha says, "I guess she doesn't fully trust you." Marceau says, "She doesn't have to. I'm not hers." Now again, I know that production made them talk about this picture, but in real life, when you pull up to someone's job at night, you are not there because your mother doesn't trust your husband. You're there because you don't trust your husband. Then Tisha says, "Well, Mom said you admitted to being at a hotel and that I knew about it." Then she says, "All I saw was a back." Now, Tisha's been married to Marceau for 15 years. You know your husband's back. You know his head. At the very minimum, Tisha could have said, "I'm confused, Marceau, because it did look a lot like you." Or she could have said, "You know, I know my mama's tripping. It doesn't look like you, but I don't like being put in these situations." Then Marceau says, "I didn't say I was in a hotel, Tisha." Then he says, "She can't bring nonsense to me with very little evidence." Not false evidence, but just very little evidence. Y'all, I was literally screaming at the TV. Then Marceau says, "I posted something about being in Atlanta on January 4th. Someone may have seen it and made something out of it. I was there with a friend." In my brain, I'm like, Tisha, you don't recall your husband traveling to Atlanta? Like, do you guys talk to each other at all where you would say, "Hey, I'm driving to Atlanta. You're in another state. You have children. What is going on here?" Tisha says, "Who's the friend?" He says, "Chris Fletcher." So Marceau was trending on Twitter, and I just moseyed right on over there, and someone posted, "Marceau straight up lied about being with Chris." Chris posted a live video from New York when Marceau said that he was with him in Atlanta. But I ain't one to gossip, so you didn't hear from me. I know that Chris gave a Nene Leakes. Now, why am I in it? I didn't even do nothing. Then Tisha starts crying and she says, "I'm tired of social media questioning my marriage. I'm tired of the internet. The internet just wants Marceau to be a cheater like Martell because Martell got caught." Then Marceau pulled a Pepe Le Pew and started kissing Tisha's hand, trying to console her. Then he wiped her tears, which was just like Stevie J. And I think Stevie J is known for being in the Creep Squad, so that's very, very fitting. Then Tisha starts saying, actually, Tisha starts talking to the camera now. She's talking to the people in TV land, and she says, "You guys are trying to destroy my marriage. You guys are trying to destroy a young family." And I was thinking, didn't your mother bring this to you? Weren't you off social media for like 3 months? You were clueless, girl. Just tell your mother to stop bringing you this mess. Then after that, y'all, Marceau completely flips the script and he takes the tissue he used to dab Tisha's eyes and he started dabbing his own eyes, okay? Then Tisha ended up consoling him, rubbing his neck and apologizing, which is a true sign of a woman that is lost. She forgot her entire mission. What did you even go up there for? Y'all, if Marceau is cheating, which according to Martell he is, it's Tisha who is the side chick at this point. She straight got played in this scene the way a side chick would get played. You guys, Martell outed Marceau yet again, okay? On Nightcap with Carlos King, Carlos asked Martell if he thought that Tisha and Marceau would last forever, if their relationship would last forever. Martell says, "I hope so, but I'm not sure Tisha will be able to survive what Marceau has put her through." Carlos said, "Like what?" Martell gave him a you-know-what look, and he said, quote, "Let's just say the rumors, because the rumors come from somewhere. Know that," unquote. And I want to point out that he was not joking when he made that comment. It felt very vengeful. And actually, it could have just been bitter because right before he made that statement, he had taken another walk down memory lane talking about how he proposed to Melody. And he actually said, "I felt she was the perfect girl for me." So then a few minutes after that, he made the comment that Tisha is probably will leave Marceau because he's cheating. And you just got the impression that, you know, so every once in a while it clicks from Martell that he has lost everything. And I remember Melody making the comment that Martell didn't start stepping outside of their relationship until they all started hanging out. Do y'all remember that? So Martell is definitely feeling away. His anger seems to be directed toward Marceau in particular, okay? But for whatever reason, Maurice is trying to bring him back in the fold so that they can control him and what he says and does. That's how it feels to me. But you guys let me know what y'all think. So in the next scene, Kimmi and Maurice are chit-chatting before they meet with Martell, who's going to come and visit. And Kimmi's going to let him know you're not invited to Jaylen'S housewarming. But Kimmi is saying to Maurice prior to that Martell has put her in some mess that she doesn't appreciate. And you can tell the vibe here is that Maurice really doesn't want to have this conversation. Kimmi is acting the way I would think Maurice should have acted when that picture came out, which is, I don't appreciate you messing up my home. But the fact that Kimmi is the one doing this here is interesting to me. It's very telling. And then the camaraderie between Martell and Maurice is like, we don't take Kimmi seriously. Actually, Martell does take Kimmi seriously, way more seriously than Maurice at this point, because he doesn't like being blamed. And you can tell that he doesn't want to be blamed because he feels we were all there doing the same thing. I got caught, they didn't. That is the vibe that Martell is giving. Maurice, on the other hand, is just trying to stay very neutral. And he's giving Martell eyes, like he's literally staring at him like, don't get too hype because, you know, don't blow up my spot, basically. So when the conversation starts, Maurice tells everyone he's going to be the mediator. He doesn't want anything to get super serious. And Kimmi has a look on her face like, why are you like, you can tell she feels he's doing too much. Martell is like, damn, is it that serious? And Kimmy's like, no, it's not. It's not that serious at all. But what you can actually see is that Maurice is pleading with Martell not to take it someplace else. He's like, listen, we're just going to have a conversation because I said I wanted you at Jaylen'S party. I actually said, well, if Melody can't come, can Marty come? Because I feel like we can all, still be cool. He's pleading with him not to have a different conversation. Don't take this in another direction. Kimmi gets into it and just says, hey, you brought chaos into my home, chaos to me, when you made a comment under the picture that Marceau posted, and then your girlfriend also made a comment. Kimmi also says, I have always defended you and said you were a nice guy. I take a lot of slack for that. However, you have a tendency to be very mean-spirited, meaner than most people. So she's basically saying you were being vindictive in that moment, and I caught it. And even though I can't control you or your girlfriend, I can control my environment. I can control my space. Martell was not feeling it at all, but he was cool. He accepted it. In confessional, he says, listen, it was actually Marceau who dropped the damn picture in the first place. But if you want to defend Marceau and Maurice in this moment for doing what we were all doing, which was joking under the picture, then so be it. I'm going to let you have it, Kimmi. In the next scene, Tiffany meets Destiny and baby Law at the trampoline park. This scene was supposed to give Destiny an opportunity to talk about what happened between her and Melody and her and Stormy at the Galentine's party. She literally gave us nothing. She just wanted us to know that she very much resents Melody. She very much resents Stormy. And I'm going to give Destiny the benefit of the doubt and say maybe it takes her a long time to give something on camera because she usually does not explain herself to a degree that's satisfying for people watching, at least not for me. If someone's sitting there trying to get you to talk, you're filming, so do the scene. She's done 4 interviews so far where she's said way more about her relationship and friendships in these YouTube interviews than she has said on the actual show. Last season and this season combined. She summed up what happened at the party to, I don't like to be that person. The last time I gave that type of energy was when I was in high school. Girl, wasn't it you who told Tiffany that you was going to drag her through Detroit, Alabama, Atlanta, every black city in the United States? Get out of here. Anyway, I heard her say in one of her interviews that she was renegotiating her contract for season 5. So I hope they gave her the same speech they gave Tisha. Step it up. So you guys, the last scene was Jaylen'S housewarming party and everybody was invited, including Patricia, who is a friend of Kiowa's and a best friend of Kimmi's. Stormy was there with her husband, Courtney. Tiffany and Louis were there, but they had to leave early. Everyone was physically present on the cast except for Martell. He had to make a phone call to the party and wish Jaylen congratulations. So that was interesting. So during the party, you could tell that a lot of people had tension with each other, including Kimmi and Maurice. So I'm going to give you everyone's individual stories, starting with them. So right off top, you can see that there is tension with Maurice and Kimmi right before Jaylen'S party. Jaylen asks the question, how's the land going? And Maurice says, oh yeah, that's going okay. We got this 2-part acquisition where I'm going to do a restaurant and something else. And it's exactly what Kimmi wanted. And Kimmi said, well, yeah, things are moving along, but I don't know if it's what I wanted. And Maurice says, really? It isn't what you wanted? You don't want this now? And Kimmi looks frustrated as hell, but for whatever reason, Kimmi is keeping her cool. And I don't know how she's doing it because I would be like, listen, stop gaslighting me. I can't do this. I can't. That is mental abuse, honestly. But she keeps running it just like he playing it. In confessional, she's like, listen, I tell you what I want. You know, I wanted something that was more of like a tutoring center for kids, things like that. And you completely ignored it. You put me on board with your, dream, your idea. I'm trying to get behind it. And then you trying to clown me like, oh, this isn't what you want. And he just looks at her like she's absolute nothing and says, I know what you want better than you know what you want. And Kimmi just shakes her head. I'm sorry, is Judge Judy available? Because I'm going to need to get away from him. Then there's a scene where Martell calls in and they have him on speakerphone. Before they hang up, Martell says to Maurice, I talked to Marceau about something. I need to talk to you about it too. And Maurice says okay and hangs up. Then Tiffany says, oh, the boys are doing another Atlanta trip. I heard you guys have history in Atlanta. And when I tell you that Kimmi's face looked like it had cracked and fell on the floor, she was giving a piercing. First she looked at Tiffany like, bitch, what? And then she turns and looks at Maurice, who completely plays it off. And he's like, oh yeah, that sounds like something, blah, blah, blah. Just a big smile on his face. He was not giving in to anything that Kimmi was giving. And at the point to where Destiny says, wow, this is awkward, because she senses Kimmi's energy is off. In confessional, Kimmi says, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Martell is messy too. And then Maurice is shaking his head like, oh my God, he's not messy. And she goes, why wouldn't he tell me or tell us about this Atlanta trip when he was sitting right there? Maurice actually fixed his mouth to say, I don't know. Maybe it slipped his mind. Mind you, the entire point of that meeting was to talk about the picture from the Atlanta trip. If that doesn't show you disrespect on every level from both Martell and more so actually from Maurice, because if you respected her, if you respected your relationship, your marriage, then you definitely would not allow someone else to tell you your business. And that's it. That's the second, third, fourth, fifth time we've seen this man do this to her on TV. What is there to love when someone is doing that kind of madness to you? After Tisha arrives to the party, Kimmi sidebar her and says, oh, there's another boys' trip. Did you know anything about it? Tisha says, I didn't know anything about it, even though Martell asked Marceau, it looks like weeks ago, okay? So we know that conversation already happened, and Kimmi overheard Martell say, I've already talked to Marceau. So she knows that Maurice absolutely knew it, because those two fools talk to each other all day, every day. So both of them are sitting there looking like chumps yet again for their spouses. So also at the party, Kimmi pulls Destiny and Stormy aside into one of the bedrooms to have them kind of hash out what happened at the Galentine's party. Stormy starts out the conversation by saying, Destiny, you took me, off guard by mocking me like that, because just a few days before you were asking me for sponsorship. Destiny says, well, you were coming at me sideways. Stormy says, well, you were coming at me sideways too. Destiny says, I don't start off like that, sweetie. I never start stuff. Then Stormy says, don't call me sweetie. And Destiny gives that shocked face. And she was like, don't do that. My name is Stormy. Destiny continued to try to explain to her why she felt calling her sweetie was okay, instead of just saying, I apologize, I didn't mean anything by it. She was literally trying to explain her position like, yeah, that's what I say to people. Stormy said, no, not today, not tomorrow. Stormy. Destiny gets up and runs out of the room. Next thing I know, Kimmi sits down and says, do you think you could have, changed your attitude about blah, blah, blah? And Stormy says, tone is everything, Kimmi. She was like, I agree, tone is everything. But do you? She was like, no, my name is Stormy. And I'm sorry, I agree. If someone says, don't call me that, then apologize to them. That is insulting. And don't give me a reason for why you want to call me a name other than what I just told you. That's not going to work. So Stormy rejoins the party, her and Kimmi. Destiny is off someplace taking a breather. When she finally makes it back into the party, Melody is clearly overheard saying, are you okay? She's like, yeah, I'm cool. She goes and sits down. By this time, Wanda is there and she is, ready to start the mess. They're showing everybody kind of still mingling, doing their thing. And Tisha comes into the room where she knows her mom is going to go off. And she's like, Mom, you don't have to handle anything for me. I got it. I've already taken care of it. Wanda says, listen, I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and they're not going to do anything to me except shake a bone and get the hell on. She goes back into the kitchen. Marcel pulls Tisha aside and says to her, Tisha, your mom is starting mess at a party. Yet again, basically, she called a room full of women bitches. And I point this out because that first scene, again, tells me it was just too scripted. Marceau has pulled Tisha aside on numerous occasions and said, your mom is starting stuff or your mom is in business she shouldn't be in. Tisha may not handle it, but he says it. And that was the first thing he should have said to Tisha when she pulled him out of his job, okay? But Wanda basically ends the scene by calling every one of the women in the room, Stormy, Melody, and Kimmi, bitches because they were talking about Tisha, and she left KeKe out of it. She said that she had heard this information from her niece. And Kimmi was like, so if you heard it from your niece, you don't think she was talking about her too? You know what I mean? But either way, Wanda was being Wanda. Wanda walked out the room. Kimmi checked her and said, Wanda, we won't be bitches in here today. Wanda sideways walked back into the room like Mary J. Blige, like when she does that sideways dance. And you overhear Jaylen say, Wanda, not in my house, not to my mama, not today. And that's how the scene ends. Now, mind you, that was Jaylen. That was not Maurice. So we overhear Marceau telling Tisha that wasn't acceptable. We hear Jaylen saying, not to my mama. You heard nothing from Maurice. And then we will see what happens next week. You guys let me know what y'all think about this episode. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, share, and I will talk to you all on the next one. I have a really good one coming up about the 47 acres. So I will hopefully get that out to you guys either tomorrow or Tuesday. See you guys soon.